One, two, three, the lawn feed.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Lawn Feed Podcast. Collectively, we're three dads, only two dads are on today. With a strong passion for lawn care, we deliver everything lawn care in a simplified, easy to listen to, and in a space where all experience levels are welcome. Egos are left at the door, successes are celebrated, and there are no failures. They're what we call learning moments with a W. I'm Vince, run Rooted Lawn Co., and alongside me is Andrew, the Dad Bod Lawn. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us tonight. Chris is not under the weather, but he is getting slammed by some weather right now. The weather is weathering. So he lost power, and he will be back on the next episode. Andrew, how you doing tonight?
I'm tired, but you know what? I'm wide awake.
We're here for you guys to talk
right.
a bunch of fun things. But first off, we mentioned a couple times previously that we had a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I know this is mainly a podcast that people are listening to on the streaming platforms, but you answered. We are over 1,100 now, and we want to say thank you. Thank you for hopping on here, subscribing, listening to us on here, watching our faces. On those streaming platforms, I think they give you an option to say like or rate us or anything. If you have a chance, go give us a rating. Be honest. 5 stars is great, but be honest. Give us a little rating, give us a shout out, send us to a friend, and we appreciate you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, we want to make sure we thank our friends over at Twin City Seed for powering this season of the Lawn Feed Podcast, which is built on the reputation of superior service, accuracy, and sustainability with custom blending and packaging, high-performing products, and a team of dedicated experts. Twin City Seed is a North American leader in giving DIYers the highest quality of premium and elite grass seed for their next project. Save money on your grass seed by using code LAWNFEED10 for 10% off your entire order. And on top of that, make sure you use that free shipping code by pairing it with code FREESHIP24. Check out Twin City Seed at twincityseed.com and twincityseed.ca. And we're going to be talking a decent amount about Twin City Seed today because we are going to be talking a lot about grass seed for good reason. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I just remember a year ago, trying to buy grass seed. It was like such an issue. Like the grass seed I wanted, I had to go and search down, and shipping was like as much as a grass seed. And then luckily I found a sod farm near me and bought grass seed through there. But Twin City Seed, they are living in the future. They got percentage off, they got free shipping, it's available all the time, quick shipping. So
they're solving,
hats off to Twin City Seed.
They're solving a big issue that we've all had, trying to find great grass seed that gets shipped quickly and is affordable.
Yep.
So they got it covered. But hey, let's dive into some dads, wins, and losses. What do you say?
Let's do it.
A lawn feed tradition where we tap into who we are at heart. Dads! This is Dad's Wins and Losses, where we tap into our inner dad bod father figures and highlight some of the recent wins we've experienced as parents, and of course, vent about the embarrassing losses we take each and every day as dads.
I love you, Daddy.
All right, Dad's Wins and Losses. Let's get into them. This Dad's Wins and Losses is again sponsored by our friends over at WaySafe Trailer Hitches. WaySafe has the only trailer hitches on the market with built-in scales to measure your tongue weight to ensure the safest towing experience possible to keep you and your family and your dogs and your belongings safe while you're towing. Use code TLF15 at checkout for 15% off of your order at way-safe.com. These hitches are awesome, so go take a look at them. Andrew, it's right there behind you. So those YouTubers, you can see it back there. Andrew, do you have a W and an L?
I do. I'm just coming off a week-long vacation, so plenty to talk about. Actually, not really. I struggled with thinking about this. That's a good thing. So my win was basically that my kids were very, very well behaved the entire vacation, and they were just real troopers. we grew up on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and if you're not familiar with the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, it's beautiful, especially in the summertime. There's lots to do, but you have to like drive quite a ways to get to anything. So an hour and a half to 3 hours,
Oh,
and
wow.
so they were troopers. No naps, just exhaustion, long car rides, and they did really really well. So the trip was great. I don't have a loss from the trip that I can think of, but on our last day, on our way home, we stopped and got some ice cream. Um, and my son, he really likes Superman ice cream, with all the bright colors in it, the blues and the red, yellows and the reds. Um, so he got Superman ice cream, enjoyed it. Well, the next day we're home. This was on Sunday. We're all home together. And in the morning, he still had his pajamas on. He was going commando because he sleeps with the diaper on. We took that off. So he was going commando. And all of a sudden he goes, I pooped my pants. And so we ran him into the bathroom, and it was like not a hard poop. It was softish,
Oh,
and it was all down his leg, and it was like teal green. It was just like Superman ice cream poop.
super poo.
Yeah, super poo. And so, yeah, we threw those pajamas in the garbage
Mm,
instantly because that color is not going to come out
mm.
alone. So yeah, that was my loss. So it stemmed from the vacation, but at the same time, it was not the vacation.
You
So
both lost on that one. Lost the
yeah,
bet and lost the shorts.
and yeah, no more pajamas. But yeah, all is
Oh,
good. There's worse things out there, that's for sure.
well, sometimes we need to make things new or buy new things, and kind of segues into our topic for tonight, right?
Yeah, we're talking about overseeding and lawn renovations because it is early August, and as a lot of people know, uh, late August, early September is the go time for these renovations. So, as homeowners and turf professionals, we are loading up on grass seed and fertilizers for fall seeding projects, and there's big decisions that need to be made, and we're going to talk through them. Should you overseed? Should you do renovation, kill off your lawn, plant brand new? So let's chat through that.
Yeah, so let's start out with overseeding. I know pretty much everyone's probably pretty familiar with overseeding. It's basically you're sowing, you're seeding into your lawn that's already existing. So it sounds super simple, but there is actually some key steps that you should probably take that's going to make it a little bit better. That way, you're not throwing your money completely away on the grass seed that you're putting in. When is overseeding good? Overseeding is good when you have about 75% of your lawn you can say is grass. It's good grass that you want, and there's 25% of weeds in there that you might have to get rid of. Be sure to take care of any existing weeds that are present before you go ahead and put grass seed in, because the weeds are going to continue to grow and choke out the grass seed. And also make sure you read the label of any herbicides that you use, because there is often a seeding window when you should seed afterwards. That way it's not affecting the new seed. So overseeding, again, it's just seeding into your lawn, but there's a couple steps that we should take. And one of the biggest main steps that you should take is scalping your lawn, which means you're just lowering your deck low. You're going about as low as you can before you start putting that blade into the dirt. That's going to get your height of cut, your grass down low, and allow, basically, it's going to give the seed a chance to germinate and grow without getting choked up from the existing grass. If you have tall fescue and stuff, that's fine. You are overseeding, so you are going to be planting new grass. So if anything gets damaged, you're seeding into it, and it's going to grow anyway. Scalping also is important because it makes dethatching that much easier. So you should dethatch, and why you should dethatch is because there is often a layer of thatch buildup, dead grass, debris. Running dethatcher is going to open up the area for your seed to actually get down to the soil and get a good seed to soil contact. So you scalp it, you bag it, you clean that up. Then you're going to run over your scarifier, dethatcher, clean that up as well. And then you're going to core aerate. Core aerate is great because you're breaking up any compaction that might be there. You can, for any of this equipment, you can either rent it. I know big box stores rent some things, or if you have smaller rental places, you can rent that as well. Usually they're pretty cheap. Or you can call a company and say, "Hey, I'd like you to come out and aerate my lawn for me," and they'll do that probably pretty cheap as well. Just make sure you say, "Hey, don't put seed down when you aerate my lawn because I'm getting better seed," and we'll talk about some of that. One of my favorite things to do as well, if I'm just overseeding, is slit seeding. So just like aerating, you are putting cores, you're digging cores down into the ground. Slit seeding, you're going to go about a 1/4 inch into the dirt as well. So I generally like to, I will run the slit seeder and then I'd seed. Some people will seed and then run the slit seeder, but if you overseed your lawn with a broadcast spreader, run over the slit seeder, do 2 different directions, your success rate for good seed soil contact is going to be pretty high.
Yeah, and I like that little trick. I might try the slit seeder backwards eventually. I've been mentioning it over and over like a broken record, and I've never done it. So I don't know. Will this year be the year? We'll see how lazy I am. That's the
Yeah, you
honesty.
set that down low and run it backwards, and it does some serious work.
Well, before we actually touch on like full-on renovations and what to do after your lawn project is complete, let's talk about some cool season grass seed options briefly. Cool season grass includes tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, fine fescues, and if you want to learn more about each of those kinds of grass specifically, we had an awesome series with Twin City Seeds, people from Twin City Seed on talking about the different grass types. We did a whole grass type series. So go back in the archives, a few podcasts, and check those out. Some of the most popular blends from Twin City Seeds we're going to touch on right now. The first one being something that I introduced in my lawn the last 2 years, and that's Resilience 2. They used to have Resilience 1. They upgraded it to Resilience 2 with even better stuff in it. It's a tall fescue blend that features some of the best tall fescue cultivars in the United States, according to the 2022 breeding trials from the National Turf Grass Evaluation Program, NTEP. You'll hear us talk about that a lot. Daybreak, number 1, and Xanadu, number 2, or Xanadu, number 2, are the top 2 cultivars for the overall quality, while Valsets excelled in both drought tolerance and trials in shade tolerance. So those are the first 3 that are in there. And then the 4th cultivar in the blend is 4th Millennium, which is a holdover from the original Resilience blend because it was so good they had to keep it in there. And so now it's called Resilience 2. And this blend is excellent fit for those in cool season zones as well as those in the transition zone because it does so well with drought tolerance. So in that transition zone, tall fescue is going to thrive compared to some of these other ones.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys are perennial ryegrass junkies, or you're looking to get into perennial ryegrass just because of the germination and color, they have 2 very popular blends. One of them being Fielder's Choice, which I did a full renovation last year with. It is a perennial ryegrass blend that has 4 elite cultivars of perennial ryegrass in there. I'm blanking on all of them. It's like Malalo, Pangea, Manhattan 7, and I forget the 4th one, but just heavy hitters. And they also, 3 of which are under the Turfgrass Water Conservation Alliance, the TWCA, which we just recently had a podcast with the YMCA.
But it's different.
Yeah. Well, I had to make sure our listeners knew that you were making YMCA right now. We had a recent podcast basically explaining what TWCA is and why it's important. And I think he was saying like people that plant this grass seed after a couple years, they save like 40% of watering for their lawns with this grass seed with this golden seal on it. But anyway, Fielder's Choice, the blend exhibits rapid establishment, germinating in as little as 5 days. I can attest to that. Strong wear and tear tolerance, aesthetically pleasing dark color, and it's best suited for cool season climates. But you can also do an overseeding into the transition zone. We actually have some listeners that overseeded this in Texas and to their Bermuda, and it did phenomenal. It's a very diverse mix of cultivars in this blend, but they're heavy hitters, and they're provide a really good, strong disease resistance. My lawn, for the longest time, I haven't been able to real mow it. I was trying to keep it around 3/4 inch to 1 inch, and my reel mower has been broken. Finally got it back, and just 2 weeks ago, I scalped my lawn from 1.5 inches down to 3/4 of an inch in 90-degree weather. And Chris was like, "You're done. You just killed your lawn." That bounced back within 2 days. Like, the color was back. I was like, "This is impressive." And then my reel mower is still just not good. And it's leaving weird lines and stuff, and I had to scalp it again. And so I scalped it like two and a half times now, this summer, in the past 2 weeks, and it just keeps bouncing back. It's phenomenal. I'm very impressed with how hardy it is. If you want super dark perennial ryegrass, Obsidian contains 3 elite cultivars of perennial ryegrass, all of which are showing off their dark side. It is literally, well, yeah, it is the darkest blend of grass seed right now on the market, because it's containing Fireball and Hat Trick. But I will say they also have Nightfall, which is a Kentucky bluegrass and a perennial ryegrass blend, and Tough Turf After Dark, which right now those 2 are the absolute darkest blends that you can buy on the market right now. But as far as just straight perennial ryegrass, Obsidian will be your darkest perennial ryegrass on the market right now. It's again, rapid establishment, germinates within 5 days, strong wear and tear, super dark green lawn. And I think Chris has this in his lawn. He's mown about 3/4 of an inch, and it looks pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and there's also Blue Resilience. I touched on Resilience 2. Blue Resilience is basically Resilience 2 with a percentage of Kentucky bluegrass in it. And the Kentucky bluegrass cultivar is Blue Gem. And it's a bluegrass cultivar that's selected for its exceptional overall quality and drought tolerance. This mix has the latest generations of tall fescue that have rhizomes that enhance self-repair, speeding establishment, improved traffic tolerance, increasing recovery from damage, dark color, and more of that fine textured leaf blade than the prior tall fescues used to have. This is not its grandfather's tall fescue. This is its own thing now. And it mixes really well with Kentucky bluegrass, because Kentucky bluegrass has always been a fine bladed grass. So this mixture is really awesome to put together. And the bluegrass responds better with winter hardiness. So it's really, if you're like me up in Michigan or Chris in Minnesota, you get really harsh winters. Tall fescue doesn't bounce back as fast as Kentucky bluegrass does, actually. So when you have Kentucky bluegrass mixed in, it kind of helps the winter hardiness. You're going to get a little bit quicker green up than you would if you just had that Kentucky or that tall fescue in there. And then with that Blue Gem Kentucky bluegrass also having great drought tolerance, it just goes hand in hand with that tall fescue, because that tall fescue, that's where it thrives in those really hot drought-like conditions. So together, it's just a really, really good blend. And it actually does reasonably well in shade too. So something to think about. One more thing, Tough Turf. He mentioned Tough Turf After Dark. Tough Turf is the original seed mixture. It's a combination of improved turf-type tall fescues and perennial ryegrasses and Kentucky bluegrass. This is more of something that I find, like here in Michigan, it's kind of like a Michigan blend. It's really, really good for establishing a brand new lawn. It does really well in a variety of soil conditions. It does well in sun, does well in shade. It's just very versatile, and it's very budget friendly. It has low inputs, so it's not going to require as much water, as much fertilizer, and that kind of stuff. So Tough Turf is really great for if you're looking to renovate your lawn, start fresh. You still want to mow between 2.5, 4 inches. This would be really nice. The perennial ryegrass in that will germinate quickly, followed by the Kentucky tall fescue. Tall fescue will pop up shortly thereafter, and then allow that Kentucky bluegrass to come in, and that'll help fill in all the bare areas as well. So tough turf, and then tough turf after dark is a very similar blend to the original tough turf, but they have swapped out some of the cultivars to give you the darkest cultivars. So love it.
Dark.
And I'm trying that. And I'm going to actually overseed with tough turf after dark.
Yeah, I'm doing nightfall in the front. I'm changing out what I got there now, the best I can, and overseeding nightfall. And then the side, like in my front, there's like a little side strip in between my neighbor's house that I just kind of let go. That I'm going to put tough turf in.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen that side of your house. I know it's not very large.
I used to do a couple reels, but I just haven't treated it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's going to get tough turf because I don't treat it very much, and I want it to stay. Right now, the Kentucky bluegrass is just dying off, and there's a lot of triv in there and stuff. So yeah, well, we hit overseeding. Overseeding was pretty simple. There's a couple steps to hit, but now let's talk about renovations and why some people want to renovate their lawn. They have tons of weeds, 50, 60, 70% of their lawn is just weeds. It's ugly. It's bumpy. Or simply put, like I did a couple years ago, I just want a new grass type in my lawn. So renovations are basically you are killing off your lawn completely and starting fresh. This is also a great time to put in that irrigation system that you've always wanted, whether it's DIY style or you hire someone out, get that irrigation in. This is a great time to be leveling your lawn. If it's very bumpy, throw that topsoil down. Also, if you have major pH issues, this is the time where you can be putting down larger amounts of lime or sulfur where it's not going to harm the grass because nothing is established at this point, and you're also going to be tilling it in. So those are some great times to be doing renovations. Now, the steps for renovations are very similar to overseeding, except there's a couple key points. One being you're killing the lawn. So you're grabbing the glyphosate or some other herbicides. If you know that there's Bermuda or really hard to kill weeds in there, you can mix up the concoction and spray that. Generally, when you spray your lawn with the glyphosate, you're going to water it then, just like you normally would to try and keep your lawn alive. It'll start to bounce back, and then you would do a second application of that. We have a lot of videos on renovations too, so be sure to go back and take a look at that. But after we kill it, we're going to scalp again, getting that height of cut down really low. We're going to remove all the debris as possible. We can till it up, run a tiller, or like we were talking about earlier, you can get that slit seeder, run that backwards, and that gets down about an inch, and that really does a good job. But I will say, if you can till up the area, that is the best. Make sure you call 811 or whatever before you dig. That way you don't hit some lines or something if you go too deep. And then you can also, if you are just doing the slit seeder and just getting all that thatch and dead grass material up, I would rent an aerator, and I would aerate it super, super, super heavy, and then you can just drag the cores out if you like. Topsoil with screen topsoil, or you can do a mixture. Whatever you're trying to change your soil structure, this is a great time to do that as well. As I mentioned, you can add lime, you can add sulfur. That way you're helping your pH issues, and you're not going to be harming things because there's no grass at this time. Next, water the dirt areas for a couple days. See if anything else germinates, some weed seeds, especially if you're bringing in topsoil. If you really want to get it nice and pure, water that topsoil, let it sink in a little bit, and you're going to start seeing some weeds popping up, and then you hit them again with glyphosate, and you should be it's sitting pretty. Once everything is leveled out, it is time to seed, and seeding's pretty simple. The hard part is deciding which seed to choose, which seed to put down in your lawn. We do have a free grass guide, that says what grass type is best for me. So head over to our website and take a look at that. Always be sure to reach out to us, reach out to Twin City Seed, and they'll be able to help make that decision for you too, to make sure you make your lawn great again. What do we do after we seed our lawns, Andrew.
Yeah, I like how you snuck that in there.
You like that?
Regardless of whether you're doing an overseed or you did a full renovation, water is king. You need to get water down. You need to keep that grass seed. I use the word moist because you don't want to, saturate it. Um, and however you need to do that, do that. If you have in-ground irrigation, you're lucky. That's going to be your easiest thing to do. You're going to set your zones for, 5-6 minutes a zone and run those 3-4 times a day. Make sure that grass seed stays moist. If you need to get yourself some hose end timers to put at your house, run sprinklers, set some sprinklers up around your yard, get some extra hoses, and just kind of keep them temporarily, permanently there for the next 4 weeks or so. You really just need to keep that grass seed moist, because if it dries up, and especially if you get a hot spell, it could be toast. And it doesn't matter how good of grass seed you have. Grass seed does not like drying out when it's trying to grow. It's like that baby, it needs that bottle. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then, before you actually do the seed, or actually you could wait a couple days to do this part, but fertilizer. You need to be getting some fertilizer down on your lawn as well. You can use products with mesotrione or tenacity, or you can spray tenacity separate. But going back to the fertilizer, you want to look for something that says starter fertilizer. You're going to want something that has both N, P, and K. Even if you necessarily don't need that middle number, the phosphorus in your lawn, it might not be readily available, stuff that's in your lawn. So you need to give it a little bit of phosphorus anyways to jumpstart this all. But back to the mesotrione, that is going to help treat weeds, active weeds in your lawn, and it'll also work for a few weeks, about 4 weeks or so, I think roughly, as a pre-emergent, and it'll prevent any other weeds from popping up, but it'll still allow your grass seed to germinate just as normal. If you see some of those Justin Timberlake tips, those frosted tips, don't freak out. That's normal. Another thing that you can put down at the time of seeding is hydrotane. Hydrotane is what do you consider it? A wetting agent?
Wetting agent.
Wetting
yeah.
agent. And it's supposedly helps increase germination time. And it's just really good for bringing moisture in the soil and keeping it where it belongs. You got something else there?
With that, O2YS. So have you used O2YS at all?
I haven't, but there is something I'm going to try this year that I want to mention after this.
Yeah, I love O2YS. This stuff just is amazing. And I was talking to another turf professional, and he's been using O2YS a lot, and he's done some trials recently with germination. And by running about 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet of O2YS, you're increasing your germination times and percent of germination, which is pretty cool. The kicker with that is it is a little expensive to get it, just because you're buying O2YS, but then you need a pH meter and you need citric acid, because when you are mixing this after if you're just putting liquid fertilizer down or you're just running it straight, you test your water, you test your pH. It needs to be at or below 5. And if it's not, you add citric acid. And once that is there, you're allowing the properties within it. I think it's a cytokine to activate the yucca plant in there, and that's gonna do its little magic. So O2YS is a really, really good product. I also use that like during any fertilizer applications or herbicide applications, and it acts as a binder of fungicides, and it makes it rain fast quicker, increases absorption, and all that good stuff. So
now that is a little bit more on the advanced end for a lot of people, including myself. I haven't tried that, but that's okay. There's one thing I'm actually considering trying during my overseed this year, and that is plant growth regulator.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I'm going to preface this first by saying we have a really, really good episode. I think it was from season 2 with Aaron from New Farm. He came on, he was talking about their plant growth regulator, Anew. And there's different types of plant growth regulators out there, so you have to be careful which ones you use in this instance. But a new by New Farm, you can get it on like doyourown.com and stuff like that. It does exactly what it says. It just regulates the rate at which your top growth of your plant, of the grass grows. So if you put this down like a couple of days before or even the day of your overseeding, it gets down into the soil and it prevents your existing grass from getting tall at a high rate. And that's one of the issues that I've had, and a lot of people have with overseed projects, is 3 weeks in, you're still watering the piss out of it. And your existing grass is now 8 to 10 inches tall, folding over, shading, the grass seed that you put in there. And so you have to go out and mow, even though you're kind of gingerly walking out there trying to stay off the grass until everything germinates. So I might try that this year. That's a little bit more of an advanced thing. Probably keep it at the lower recommended rates and just try to reduce that growth for at least a few weeks and see if that helps at all.
Yeah, that's a solid point. PGRs are great.
But yeah, that is going to wrap up this episode as far as talking about renovations. But we actually have a decent amount of Mowtime mailbag questions to get into. So let's fire that up and let's get into it.
It's time for the Mowtime mailbag.
Join us as we reach deep into the mailbag and answer your questions. If you would like to have a question answered on the Lawn Feed podcast, head to thelawnfeed.com and submit a question.
All right. Let's dive into this mailbag. The first question, I think it's our first one ever. It's from Matt M. in Nottingham, England. So the first one from England. The subject is Old Ass Lawn. Great podcast, guys. Always look forward to a new one. Been catching up on Spotify, working backwards through season 2. Some great guests too as well.
Absolutely.
You need to do like a 3-part mini series for us lawn dads over the pond in the UK. So here's my question. I've just extended my house and the lawn has took a hammering and dumping materials and waste on it. I have no idea what type of seed is down in my garden. I love how they call it gardens, the lawns. It's almost 100 years old. How do I stop the lawn from looking like a patchwork quilt without doing a full reno? Keep up the good work, dudes. Matt from Nottingham, Robin Hood's backyard. Great timing for this question.
I think, it is good timing, but it goes back to that PGR. I think if you were to scalp it down, follow the process, but scalp it really low, hit it with a PGR, and then you seed, I think that would allow the new seed to germinate and hopefully choke out that existing grass without actually having to kill it.
Right.
Because if you put down enough regulator, it's not gonna grow for several weeks, allowing your new seed to germinate. I think that potentially could work.
That repetitive overseeds. I've overseeded my lawn probably 3 times in the last 4 years, and I'll tell you what, like this year, it's insanely thick. So, one overseed project is not going to do everything you want it to do necessarily. It's going to get you a large percentage of the way there. So, just some patience, possibly as well.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a nice lawn overnight.
All right, going on to number 2, Javier C. from Utah. This is a very generic question. It just says, what is the grass and fertilizer for my climate of Utah? Cool season. That's too general to know. I've never been to Utah, so I'm not too familiar. I know a lot of watering restrictions out there, but I think what we just talked about earlier, all those different grass blends, you could have any of those in your lawn and have success.
I know a lot of people out there run Kentucky bluegrass lawns. There's a lot of Kentucky bluegrass lawns.
Which I find interesting because of their watering restrictions. Because Kentucky bluegrass doesn't do good when it doesn't get water.
And like you could run like a tough turf out there, and that would be great because you can keep it somewhat lower with the newer varieties in the tall fescues, but you have that awesome component of drought resistance with tall fescues too, but you have the spreadability and low inputs and quick establishment from the perennial rye. So check out Tough Turf. Try Tough Turf After Dark while they have it in stock.
Absolutely. Question 3 is from David in Chan.
Sorry, fertilizers. Fertilizers are just your general. So like, unless there's some type of restriction of what you're allowed to put down, like your phosphorus or something, any fertilizers will do out there. Just apply them at the right times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So David from Chanhassen, Minnesota, non-herbicidal weed treatments. Hi, started using Bonide. Is it Bonide? Is that how you say that?
Bonide.
Bonide lawn weed iron and dead weed non-selective organic gardening products to control weeds such as dandelion, thistle, and clover around the yard. What are your thoughts on long-term effectiveness of these products as an alternative, effective weed control, or destined to weekly be spraying the same weeds over and over? I've never used anything like that.
No,
I feel like if Chris had some power at his house, he might have a little insight on this, because I know he's been using a lot of the Bonide products.
I think, just rule of thumb, yeah, you're doing the right things of controlling the dandelions, the thistle, the clover. Clover is going to come back a lot, no matter how nice your lawn is.
Yeah,
it's just going to keep coming back. My advice to you is you're coming into fall renovation overseeding time, so hit it again and give it that window that you need for safe seeding, and just continue to aerate and overseed into your lawn. Get that lawn thick, and then in the spring use a pre-emergent. Now it's not going to tackle the dandelions, but most of the other weeds with that pre-emergent, you're going to prevent that from coming up. And the thicker turf is going to allow the competition for weeds to be a lot lower. They're not going to be able to germinate and come up through a thicker stand of turf.
And as long as your dandelions, or even crabgrass for that matter, don't come in like by the hundreds, pulling those with those stand-up weeding tools is very effective. I haven't treated any herbicides in my lawn this year, but I was out there for like a week straight every single night pulling probably 5 to 10 dandelions, and I wake up for work the next day and there's more. But you can pull those up by hand, so you don't necessarily need to use herbicides for all of it. All right, Sheldon O from Maui, Hawaii. This might be our first one from Hawaii. Aloha. Hi from Hawaii. I am a first-time reel mower user. Used my California trimmer about 6 to 7 times. Loving it. But some areas I am cutting too much off, scalping, and it's set to the highest setting. What should I do? It's not going to take time for my grass to get used to the new. Is it going to take time for my grass to get used to the new mower? I have the front roller attached to it, and I don't know why. I don't know what type of grass I have. Thanks. In aloha. I think I know the answer here, but you're a real mower guy.
Good.
So I think he needs to do a lawn leveling project. If you have it at the highest setting in your scalping, that means you have some significant high spots or you have some significant low spots. You need to bring those lower spots up to the higher spots, and then you just need to smooth everything out, because it's going to be scalping when it hits high spots. So.
Yep. There's another guy out there, Maui, Lawn Sauce. He does some real mowing, so take a look at his account too.
Yeah, he's in Hawaii.
He might be able to bounce some ideas off, but it sounds like you have just a leveling issue.
And here's one from your backyard. Sean S. in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
No, it's Lancaster, not Lancaster.
Lancaster. Lancaster. Anyways, Bermuda, Blue Muda in Pennsylvania. Hi, guys. I didn't think I'd encounter this problem up in Pennsylvania, but I have some Bermuda grass encroaching into parts of my cool season lawn. I know Bermuda can be very difficult to control, and I'm not opposed to Bermuda lawn, but I'm wondering, is it possible to have a Bermuda lawn this far north? I know the Baltimore Ravens use Bermuda at their field, and they're only about an hour south of me, so I don't think that's too far of a stretch. But I also don't have the turf budget or professional sports team. I wish I did. I've seen Blue Muda as a possible compromise if it's not possible to do solely Bermuda, but also I don't really know where to start with that. A lot to unpack. I know any tips would be appreciated. I know you've dealt with a little bit of this kind of stuff up that way.
I have, yeah. Like, surprisingly, my neighbor has Bermuda in it, and it's like the barnyard Bermuda and just junk crap.
Yeah, that's the only issue with some of that
So
invasive
I
stuff.
probably wouldn't allow that to come in. What you'll do is you'll probably want to kill that out. If you want to plant Bermuda grass seed, does Twin City have? They have
They do.
Bermuda.
Hmm.
That lawn or not? The lawn dad, TJ. He did some trials with it.
Yeah.
I would try and get rid of the existing junk Bermuda that you're seeing popping up. Um, I have it around here too. I'm not too far from Lancaster County, so I would try and get rid of that. And if you want to try Bermuda, dude, shoot me a DM. Let's make it happen. I'm curious as much as you're curious. We'll get some Bermuda seeded in there, but otherwise, yeah, I would get rid of the Bermuda, and I would do it now. Like you need some serious time before you can seed your lawn after killing Bermuda, because you're killing everything on that in those sections. So can you? Yeah, you can. Um, the it's going to be brown paper bag for several months though because of our winters. So having that bluegrass inside of it is definitely gonna keep it greener longer. But shoot, man, if you're doing it, let me know. I'm curious.
And I'm actually just looked on Twin Cities Seeds website. They have Sun Queen, Maya, Pan Am, and Monaco. So they do have some Bermuda grass options out there.
Cool.
So, yeah, that'd be. Hopefully, he listens to this and he reaches out to you. That'd be neat.
Yeah, that would be.
All right, this one's from Chris in Lisbon, Wisconsin. New built a new house and moved in recently 1.15 acres in Wisconsin on a field that I believe was used for growing hay. There's a large portion of the lot that has weedy grass, hay growing, and a portion that had topsoil scraped to build the house. For the portion that has topsoil with the weedy grass hay, can I kill the weeds, throw down Twin Cities seed, or do I need to kill everything, add new topsoil, and start all over? Can provide pictures if needed. We don't have pictures, but I don't know. I think it depends on what kind of topsoil you currently have. I mean, you can certainly, spray glyphosate like you talked about earlier, and start fresh and level out that existing. But you probably would want to bring in, if you're starting fresh like that, essentially bringing in some other fresh topsoil. I think to really top it off. What's your opinion?
Yeah, if he's dealing with that, I mean, some of those crop and stuff that's growing in, they might even be glyphosate resistant too. I know Ryan Orr's dealing with that. A lot of the weeds that are coming up in his field are glyphosate resistant. So, because that's how they're farming things with GMOs now. So, I would try and kill it off and get rid of it, because I can tell you firsthand, like I put down a straw mat and I'm dealing with like this annual rye stuff that's popping up, and I'm hand pulling it, but it's a nightmare. So if you can, before you get grass seed down, start just hammering out those weeds and try and get as pure as you can. I would shoot for that. Bringing in new topsoil, you could be bringing in other weeds as well. You can be bringing in triv, which isn't good. So unless you need to level it, just work with what you got, kill it off, do a couple kills as things start germinating back. And then, throw down that Twin City seed, buddy.
All right, Zach R. in Utah, topsoil versus sand. We kind of touched on this one on the last episode, but we'll answer it real quick. When leveling your lawn for an overseed, do you prefer topsoil or sand?
If there's minor imperfections, you can go ahead and do your sand. If there's a lot of bumps, then go topsoil. And I would aerate before you do either of those. So a lot of bumps, screen topsoil. Minor imperfections like 1 inch little divots, you can do your sand, or you can mix it.
Right. Yeah, I like to do a mixture. I try it because I have sandy soil.
It's difficult to do because no one sells it, and then you're using by hand you're mixing it. And
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got a local place to actually kind of mix it for me last time.
yeah.
So it did about 70% of the work for me, I'd say. So, all right. Mike V from Shakopee, Minnesota. And I actually looked where this is. This is literally right next to where Chris is. Like, you can't get any closer. 20-year-old house and lawn. So we moved in about 3 years ago. Not sure what the previous owners did, but they had a company fertilize for them. Last year, I threw down some dirt sand mix in some spots, aerated and overseeded with Twin City Seeds Sunny Mix. Since we have been here, I've had rust issues every year in the backyard. So rust fungus, that is. I have 2 kids, and in my yard is like the neighborhood hangout, and I have trouble getting growth where they play in the grass. It's just not long. So question is, what should I do since I have no idea what has been done in the previous years? I like a long 3 to 3.5 inch grass. Also, any recommendations on grass seed to overseed with? I have about 50-50 sun shade. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you want to find a very traffic tolerant grass. So something like resilience 2, or blue resilience. That's what I meant to say instead of resilience 2. I think those would be great options. Doing heavy overseeds. I know it might be kind of hard to keep people off that area for a while until it fills in and matures, but you might have to redirect and maybe hang out someone else's lawn for a little bit. If you really want to commit to getting that nice, and then once you get it established, you can hit it with an overseed, the following year, and hopefully keep it thick.
Yeah. I would definitely overseed heavy of blue resilience in that area. And as far as the rust, I believe propiconazole will help with the rust. It doesn't damage your lawn, but I know it's annoying, especially if you have kids, because then their
really
feet
annoying.
are all orange and stuff. Propiconazole works, and yeah.
I had rust really bad the first year that I bought my white New Balances, and I'd be out in the lawn, and that was when I was still push mowing, and they were just like that rusty color. Yep. I might as well just sprayed them with, something I'll spray from my backpack sprayer. But
I used to get it really bad every year, and this year I have not had rust. So
I didn't have any this year either. Not sure
if it's the amount if it's nitrogen and like fertilizer associated. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I think my red thread made up for what that was. Anyways, Zach E. from Royal Oak, Michigan, midsummer fungus question. Oh, here we go. Hey, Ope, was wondering if you'd be able to help me out. Looks like the fungus got in spots in my backyard this year with all the humidity and whatnot. I raked out as much dead thatch as I could, but I'm wondering what my next step should be to try to get these spots back to green. Should I reseed? Any applications of fungicide? Any advice would be appreciated and helpful. Thanks.
I wonder what you had as far as fungus. If it's killing spots, my question is Pythium or like a brown patch or dollar spot or something. If the disease is still present, then yes, I would apply a fungicide. Go back to our fungicide episode, take a listen to that, pull up a local extension, send us a picture of what it looks like to try and properly ID it. But I would, if you still are seeing fungus, then I would apply a curative rate of fungicide down on it and do that per label, usually 7 to 14 days until that is cleared up. As far as the dead areas, you're going to be heading into fall seeding pretty soon. Just give it a little bit of time. It looks bad now, but I would garden weasel that. And then, yeah, you could either just seed those areas or do an overseed over everything and just hit those little areas a little heavier. Andrew?
No, that sounds great. I agree. You're not going to be able to do much about the bare spots now. It's not a good time to be seeding them anyway, so you might as well just try to play defense until you can. Miles C. in Yankton, South Dakota.
Yankton.
Grass type is a subject. Hi there. I am from Yankton, South Dakota, which is the southeast corner of the state. I'm about to plant new grass into bare dirt. I am looking for a grass type to plant that would be wide bladed and will work well in my area. Growing, it says condiments. I think growing condiments can get growing conditions can get extreme here during the hot months of the year, and we usually receive little amounts of rain. With that being said, I would like it to be somewhat drought tolerant. The yard does have underground sprinkling and can hold up well in heavy foot traffic for the kids and dog. Thank you for your help, Miles. I think, well, it's not going to give you the wide blades you want, but tall fescue, I think, is going to be good for you. And in South Dakota, I'm assuming you get pretty decent amount of snow up there as well during the winter. So maybe that blue resilience mixing some Kentucky bluegrass with it for that winter hardiness.
Yeah.
It's there really isn't a whole lot of wide bladed grass out there anymore,
No, that's changing unless you're going K31, which is
which you
not
don't
pretty.
want. Yeah, I mean, there's a time and place for it for sure, but I don't think you want it in your lawn if you're starting fresh. You want to get something high quality in there.
Yeah,
I think blue resilience would be really, really good for you.
I think it would work well.
Yeah. All right. Eddie F. in Long Island, New York. Pre-overseeding and post-overseeding. Hey guys, last summer I did a full lawn renovation. It was pretty straightforward. What to do. Now this year I'm planning on doing some overseeding, and I'm getting many different answers from my local Lawn Nut Facebook group. My two main questions are, what do I need to spray tenacity/speed zone to kill the unwanted weeds that have popped up before I start the overseeding process? Or is it only necessary if the whole lawn is infested with weeds? And then two, do I need to put down starter fertilizer after overseeding, even though after doing a soil test, my NPK is in the sweet spot? Would adding the starter fertilizer do more harm than good? Thank you. Two good questions.
Yeah. So, yes, kill your weeds. I probably wouldn't put tenacity down to kill your weeds. I would use, depending on what you have, Drive Accelerate, Quinclorac, which kills a lot of broadleaf. Speed Zone, just be careful with the heat. Take care of those weeds.
But
Get rid of them
look
now.
at the time frame though, because we are getting close to seeding, so
Yeah.
make sure you're not too close.
Yeah, and then even if you're getting close, I would try and get that down soon. Even if you're backed up a little bit for seeding, but those weeds are crucial to get rid of. And then starter fertilizer, your soil test, you probably didn't get a reading on your nitrogen, maybe phosphorus, potassium, yeah. But is the phosphorus, is the potassium available to your plant? Probably not. So, especially the new plant that you're planting now. So, yeah, I would still run a starter fertilizer. And you can do a twofer, which basically you're running a mesotrione and starter fertilizer together. If you're near a local site one, they have their starter fertilizer with mesotrione in it. And then Scott's also has a starter fertilizer with mesotrione in it. And you can run that, two applications of that right at seeding, and then also your late season fertilizer app. You split that if you'd like, which will help with weed control. But I'm pro get rid of the weeds.
All right, good deal. The last one is from Lynn M. in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. The subject is fertilizing. She actually sent this to us, and it said it wasn't a Motime mailbag question, but I thought it was kind of interesting, so I included it. Hi, I did a soil test in two areas. One area, the suggestion was to use 1648. I think I got that right. I mentioned it to our landscaper, and he said he would do 12-12-12 on our next application. How long after that could I use the liquid 1648, which I'm assuming is a Simple Lawn Solutions product?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So I guess she's talking about now. If she
Right.
or they, whatever they use. So 12-12-12. If it, I would look at how much of that you put down. So if you put down a pound of nitrogen, a pound of all of those, then you're probably pretty good for the next like 68 weeks, especially if it's a slow release fertilizer. Now you can apply that 1648 at label rate around like the 6 to 7, 5 to 6 week mark, and that just kind of gives that as your fertilizer starts dropping down, you're hitting that curve, and you're just keeping it up, so you're not dropping completely. You're just giving a little extra food until your next granular application.
Yeah, I would definitely talk to your landscaper or whoever is applying and find out how many pounds of nitrogen they're putting down and when their next application is going to be, so that you can get on the same page, if you will.
Yeah. I think that's also a really crucial point that you point out. Landscapers have plans. So if they're out there fertilizing and stuff, and then you're out there fertilizing and stuff, it could throw them off, or it could potentially harm your lawn. So I would be in communication with them for sure.
And that's going to do it for our Mo Time Mailbag segment. You guys threw a lot of them at us in the last 2 weeks, and we love doing these. So keep them coming. We appreciate it. We really like to see where you guys are from, all over the United States. I thought it was really cool, even outside of the United States. We'll do our best to, bullshit an answer for you, if you will. No, not really. We'll give you guys some pretty good guidance.
We are YouTube certified DIY lawn carers.
That's
we
right.
are teaching, and we are learning, and we are just gathering up learning moments. So
we're also wrapping up this episode, so we appreciate you guys. Make sure you head to thelawnfeed.com, check out our swag, get yourself a lawn t-shirt, join our mailing list. Every 2 weeks, we typically fire it out an email talking about new podcasts being released, and we usually have like a swag of the week that we send out there with an extra little discount for you guys. But you could always use Brad15 at thelawnfeed.com. Get yourself that lawn feed swag. Make sure you head over to twincityseed.com. Utilize lawn feed 10, also free ship 24. Get your fertilizer, get your grass seed now. Even though you might be 4 weeks away from doing your project, have it ready to go. It's not something you want to be scrambling at the end. And next thing you know, you're going to the big box store getting grass seed that you probably shouldn't be putting in your lawn. So get on it, get it done, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.
see ya.